Hey there, 8th grade detectives, and welcome to today's Explainer. You know, every great story is just full of hidden clues, and today we're going to crack the code together. We're stepping right into the world of the story to figure out exactly how setting, theme, and moral wisdom all tie together. It's like a giant puzzle, and we've got all the pieces.
But hey, before we dive headfirst into made-up worlds, we kind of need to ground ourselves in reality for a second. Psalm 24, verse 1 reminds us, "The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it." Before we start analyzing all those beautifully crafted settings in our favorite books, it's absolutely vital to recognize the creator of the incredibly complex setting we actually live in every single day.
All right, so here is our mission map for today. First, the world of the story. Second, why setting actually matters. Third, gathering your textual evidence. Fourth, exploring historical settings. Fifth, time to review. And finally, number 6, education and moral wisdom. Let's get moving.
Starting off with Section 1, the world of the story, and defining our first clue.
Every single great literary investigation has to start with one very basic question. Where in the world are we? Setting is quite simply the time and place of a story, and it's established through an author's descriptive language and clues. Authors aren't just going to hand you a GPS or a map at the beginning of Chapter 1. No way. Instead, they drop breadcrumbs for us to uncover. Things like the weather, the time of day, or cultural norms.
Moving right along to Section 2, why setting actually matters. Let's look at the stakes of this investigation. Now, you might be wondering, why should I even care what the weather is like in a book? Well, in school, paying close attention to setting helps you write vastly stronger essays, and it helps you accurately answer comprehension questions. It gives you the where and when that actually explains the character's why. But more importantly, out in real life, analyzing setting teaches you to pay attention to your own environment. It trains your brain to understand context and kind of read the room. Think of it like knowing better than to ask your parents for money when they look completely stressed out. It ultimately just helps you make much wiser decisions.
Section 3, gathering your textual evidence and building the case.
Okay, so how do we actually find these clues? We basically have two main methods, direct evidence versus indirect evidence. Direct evidence is like an explicit eyewitness account from the author. It doesn't require any guesswork. Indirect evidence, though, that's a bit sneakier. The author leaves subtle hints and sensory details that we, the readers, have to piece together to deduce the truth. Take a look at this absolutely perfect piece of direct evidence from the novel Holes. The lake was dried up and the land was a barren wasteland. Boom. Zero guessing involved. The author comes right out and tells you exactly what this hot, lifeless setting looks like. That makes it incredibly useful. Solid proof that you can quote directly in an essay.
But then, we have indirect evidence. Think about Anne of Green Gables. We get clues like the smell of apple blossoms and descriptions of red roads. The author doesn't just hand us the setting on a silver platter, they challenge us. Apple blossoms mean it's spring, and red, clay-rich dirt means we're out in the country. We get to connect those dots ourselves.
Section 4 already, exploring historical settings, where we zoom out of there.
Let's look at the historical setting in Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. The book includes references to segregation laws. By spotting clues exactly like this, we instantly know the story is grounded in a real-world time period, specifically the American South during the 1930s, and this is massive. A historical setting deeply shapes the characters' beliefs, how they interact, and the really intense conflicts they face. It seamlessly bridges the gap between a fictional plot and actual human history.
And now, Section 5. Time to review. Let's get to your detective homework.
All right, rapid-fire review time. Question 1. What is the exact definition of a setting? Think back to the start of our mission, all about the when and the where.
Question 2. How can an author describe a setting without telling it directly? You know, that sneaky show-don't-tell strategy, using those sensory hints.
Question 3. Give an example of a direct description of setting. Remember that super hot, barren wasteland from Holes?
Question 4. How about an example of an indirect clue? Cast your mind back to the country with those sweet-smelling blossoms and red clay roads. And finally, question 5. Why is it so absolutely crucial to use textual evidence when describing a setting? Because hey, a great detective never just guesses. We always back it up with solid proof.
That brings us to Section 6, Education and Moral Wisdom, diving into the hero's mark philosophy.
Let's slow down for just a second because here is a real core truth for you. Education without morality,
it will hurt. Think about it. What good is being the smartest detective in the entire room if you use that knowledge to make choices that harm yourself or the people around you? True learning simply has to be paired with a strong moral compass.
So where do we actually get that moral compass? Well, Romans 8, verses 6 and 7 promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. When we filter our worldly education through a spiritual lens, we don't just gain dry facts, we gain a profound peace that actually protects us.
So I'll leave you with this. Are you simply gathering facts just to pass your next test? Or are you actively building the moral wisdom you need to truly navigate the settings of your own life? As you go out and apply your new detective skills to the books you're reading, remember to apply that exact same scrutiny and wisdom to the real world around you. Keep your mind sharp, keep your hearts anchored, and I will see you in our next explainer.